I'm developing this color game, but how did this idea come to fruition? Well, it all started in my 2D games class. We were discussing ideas for our first group project, and the first idea we had was a Terraria clone. Now, Terraria is a very big game to clone already, so we need to water it down in order to be able to finish it by the deadline for this class. And then we just added idea after idea for this project, and it was never gonna get done. So, I pitched a new idea. A game where the world has lost all its color, and your goal is to bring color back to the world. Everyone loved it. It actually reminded them of this game called The Blob. I hadn't played it at the time, but the other two have, and that's actually where they got some of their ideas for the game from. But yeah, I ended up playing The Blob after the semester, and it's pretty fun. Anyway, what my other team members were doing is a very common brainstorming method where you take something that already exists and you build on top of it. And that's not a bad method. I mean, that's pretty much why a lot of things in Rainbow Rush are the way they are. However, if you're developing your first game, that can get very overwhelming, especially if you try to live up to something big. For example, something like Persona 5. Trust me, I've been there before. What I like to use are atomic ideas. Basically, you start with something super simple that you like. For example, with Rainbow Rush, it was colors. I thought of this idea because I love drawing, I love art, and I love learning about how colors work together. So I figured that this would be a fun game to make. And then as we built around the idea, it evolved into this. Atomic ideas like this can be seen everywhere. For example, Super Mario Bros., a tale as old as time. The knight in shining armor comes to save the princess, except instead of a knight, it's a plumber, traveling through pipes and eating mushrooms. Or with Sonic the Hedgehog, see how fast you can beat this level. Now make that into an entire video game. And then it evolved into the speedster we know and love. Or Kirby, you love food? Well, guess what? I hope you like sucking up your enemies and gaining their powers. Or Pokemon, you like catching bugs? Well, time to catch more creatures. So, how can you incorporate this into your game dev journey? Well, if you're like Zoe from K-pop Demon Hunters and you like turtles, you can make a game where you take care of a turtle. I mean, it's simple enough. Heck, simple ideas like this work all the time, even just by themselves. I mean, look at Nintendogs. It's just about taking care of a dog and taking them out for a walk and stuff. It's really fun. Everyone loves Nintendogs, especially those who wanted a dog as a kid but never got to have one. Another example, if you really like the concept of mixing things and creating something new with them, or if you're fascinated by how chemicals combine to create something new, well, you can make a sandbox game based on that. Probably a small one if it's your first indie game, but it's definitely something to build around. Heck, I'm pretty sure there was a click-a-majig like that on Nick.com. I would recommend starting with a platformer, and there are a lot of ideas you could do with this. You could collect chemicals throughout the platformer and combine some of them to create new items, or you could use certain chemicals on certain enemies, or you could use certain chemicals to break things or to access certain areas. See, there are many things you could do with this idea, and that's the fun part of it. You just gotta start somewhere and build around it. Anyway, if you're looking to develop your first game, atomic ideas are the way to go. That's really all I have for today. See you next time!